The ball rolls in Singapore. It's the five-time world champions and the reigning South America Copa America winners, Brazil, getting us underway. Alongside Eric Krakauer, I'm Andres Cordero. Thanks as always for joining us for some international football on BN Sports. It's Brazil coming off of that 1-1 draw, making it now 3 straight games without a win for the Verde Amarela. And Nigeria, most recently, were playing in a 2-2 draw against Ukraine. Gave a good account of themselves, but settled for the draw. The familiar pairing of Marquinhos and Thiago Silva anchoring the back line for Brazil. Everton. Switch of play to the near side. Gabriel Jesus has been employed as a right winger recently by Chichi, who likes to shake things up to, in his own words, find more balance for this Brazil team.
Well, Bobby Firmino, who was on the bench for Brazil's first game of the Copa America, came off the bench and then made a place for himself in the 11 after that.
There's a promising approach for Gabriel Jesus into the area, onto his right. Jesus back across the grain, and well defended by Nigeria. Will be out for a Brazil throw.
That movement from Cebolinha, Everton, cutting inside to look for the shot. Wonder whether he'll run into Neymar's space a few times in this game.
Renan Lodi dispossessed Neymar. Lovely skill to find Everton out wide. Renan Lodi, options in the center. It's Firmino who just was able to get there, but couldn't really bring it under control.
How about that touch from Neymar? Is there a more entertaining player in world football? We can argue all we want about where he stands in the hierarchy of current great players, but in terms of the aesthetic, I don't think there's anybody more pleasing.
I won't even take that as a rhetorical question, just flat out no. Worth the price of admission, the PSG man.
Well, that's bad refereeing right there, because he's got to stop the play, give the ball back to Nigeria. It's the new rule.
Play allowed to continue, and once again, here's Everton as the overlap from Renan Lodi. Neymar in the middle. Neymar tried to lay it off, does fall for Firmino. Lovely turn by Firmino, fires it wide of Francis Usoho's goal.
Well, that's brilliant work from Bobby Firmino. He does so well to hold up the ball. The defender is waiting for the layoff. Back to Neymar. Instead, he twists to Everton, and then unleashes a shot, left-footed, not off by much, but that's the reason why he's in the 11.
Well, it was Firmino's goal in the 9th minute that broke the deadlock against Senegal. He did concede an equalizer. Here is Chichi, the Brazil national team coach, Copa Libertadores and the FIFA Club World Cup winner in his days with Corinthians. Now Copa America champion.
Just needs a World Cup now to his name.
Is that all?
Reached the heights of Felipe Scolari. Well, this is a good start from Brazil. Similar to the one against Senegal.
Well, this will be the first corner kick of the match. It's gone to the Brazilians. It's a good look at the Ammonia goalkeeper, Francis Usoho. Neymar swung in, edge of the 6. It's recovered by Everton. Dani Alves, look away pass, but intercepted by Iwobi. Here is Alex Iwobi. First real chance for Nigeria to get forward. It's Artur who cuts it out. Here's Moses Simon.
A couple of bad touches getting in the way of Alex Iwobi, who, as I said, we're taking a look at the lineups, is playing in a more central role for Nigeria and Arsenal, and at Everton plays on the left wing, loves to cut in.
Jamilu Collins. Everton switched over to the near side very early on. Collins trying to pass his way through. Ndidi recovers for the Super Eagles. The sense that this last AFCON came just a little too early for this generation of Nigerian players, and yet giving a very good account of themselves with a 3rd place finish, where they come with Moses Simon. Iwobi. Clipped Victor Osimhen, brought down by Osimhen, fires denied by Ederson, and Renan Lodi able to clear the danger, but an early warning shot from Victor Osimhen.
Well, that's what he's been doing all season long for Lille, and just to carve out a little bit of space.
Meanwhile, the foul given against Neymar here.
That was a lovely ball from Alex Iwobi to find Osimhen.
Well, take a look. He is so strong inside the 18. Victor Osimhen, Thiago Silva just ricocheting off of him.
And what's so impressive is all the power that he manages to get into that shot. Forces a really good save from Ederson.
7 goals already from his first 9 games.
Neymar has done for this national team, and sadly wasn't a part of that win in home soil.
Well, he had the serious injury that ended his Ligue 1 season last season. And
Francis Uzo. Some goalkeeping questions in this Nigerian national team. Uzo was the starter at the World Cup, at the last World Cup, starter as well at AFCON, was injured for that third place game against Tunisia.
Taken away from Iwobi. This is Gabriel Jesus. Coutinho on his left from the D. Promising approach here. Firmino denied by Uzo, who smothers it on the rebound.
Well, this all happens because Chidozie Awaziem goes down way too easily. He's trying to make the tackle on Everton. Stay on your feet is the lesson learned early on. Sorry, it was on Gabriel Jesus, in fact. And good triangulation between Coutinho and Bobby Firmino, who can't put enough spice in that shot. Although, you have to say, Uzo should have done better with that save. His stance was a little awkward.
We're going to have a cooling break as we hit the 30-minute mark in Singapore. You're mentioning the goalkeeper, Francis Uzo, who today is making his 16th appearance for the national team. Brazil only have one goalkeeper on the bench. Today it's Weverton, who's available to back up Ederson. Nigeria have 2. They've got Ezenwa, the 30-year-old, as well as Maduka Okoye, who's yet to make his debut. The German-born 20-year-old is available for Gernot Rohr.
And that just shows you the contrast between these two teams. The riches in the Brazilian net. You've got Ederson, who is, for me, top 10 goalkeepers in the world. And Alisson is injured, and that's why Ederson is starting. And then you have Weverton, who was a starting goalkeeper in the 2016 Rio Olympics, a gold medalist, who's also a phenomenal goalkeeper for Palmeiras.
There's a look at that earlier Roberto Firmino effort as Neymar was trying to lay it off for Everton, and it fell to the Liverpool striker. Samuel Chukwueze had a decent opportunity, or rather Osimhen did moments after.
And what a save that was from Ederson. And Marquinhos almost betraying his goalkeeper. This is a good play here. The cross coming in, and then Gabriel Jesus forcing Uzo into a very good save as well. A little bit of excitement in what has been, for the most part, a pedestrian-paced match. Not that these fans really care. They're here for the star-studded affair.
Well, in terms of shots, it's been 6-2 in favor of the Brazilians. On target, 2-1 for Brazil. And the possession split 70-30 for the South American champions. Gabriel Barbosa with a few traveling fans, finally breaking out after perhaps going to Europe a little early.
Yep.
To Inter. He's now the top scorer in the Brasileirão with 18 goals. The ex-Santos youth. Speaking of ex-Santos, Neymar left the game after.
Ekong just bodying off Firmino. Just to finish my thought, another player that comes to mind is Coutinho as well. Does ever so well at Liverpool, although you could criticize him for not being consistent. I think the system that Klopp was employing didn't quite suit him. Goes to Barcelona, it doesn't work out. Again, the system doesn't suit him, and people all of a sudden think that he's too much of a luxury player and doesn't have the quality to play for a big team. Moves to Bayern Munich, everything's clicking because, lo and behold, the system is suited to a player of his qualities.
And Kong, slack pass intercepted, chance to recover. Here is Osimhen, drifting wide to collect and work against Thiago Silva. Early cross, it'll fall for Simon. Simon here against Dani Alves. Squared in from the penalty spot. It's a chance. 2 goals in as many games for Joe Aribo. Scored in his debut against Ukraine, and he's done it again. In his second appearance, Joe Aribo breaks the deadlock for the Super Eagles. Nigeria 1, Brazil 0.
Joe Aribo has not seen much of the ball in this game. The match seemed to be bypassing him. But how about that footwork in tight spaces? When he takes the first touch, you think that the opportunity is gone because it's a little heavy. Great work from Victor Osimhen on the right-hand side, who finds Simon just ghosting at the back post. The streaking Aribo shows up, and then quick interchanges left to right foot, and then a true and hard finish to beat Ederson. Wonderful stuff from the young Pearl, the Rangers player, who is announcing himself not only to his national team, but to the world.
Well, he's yet to score for Rangers in the Scottish Premier League, but 2 goals in 2 games for the national team after a breakout campaign at Charlton Athletic last season. Joe Aribo, who was a question mark due to a head injury suffered a couple of weeks back, making his minutes count for Nigeria. This is Casemiro. Everton slaloming his way through. It's intercepted by a corner. Iwobi. Samu Chukwueze here working against Casemiro, a couple of La Liga players. Osimhen arrives ahead of Marquinhos. Again, the cross looking for Simon, won in the air by Dani Alves. Coutinho dispossessed by Ndidi. Nice turn by Osimhen, but dispossessed by Artur. Ndidi fires. Ederson collects.
Victor Osimhen has been running the channel so well, always making himself available, opening a passing avenue, pulling defenders out of position. We saw Thiago Silva, who was running to close him down on that last play.
Firmino. Options in front of him, but he waits for Artur. Alves. Artur. Gabriel Jesus with his back to goal. Well, you get the sense that things just got real for Brazil. They didn't expect to be down 1-0. They were relatively comfortable, but there were a few warning shots for Victor Osimhen. Simon.
And except for the fact that Brazil have not scored in this game,
Artur dispossesses Iwobi, but they can't wrestle him to the ground. Losing his balance here. They're not going to give the foul.
This is a clear foul. The referee gives Artur the advantage. He can't control the ball. I think it should have been called back. He should have had an opportunity. Collins clearly fouling him. A stiff arm to the face. Good strength shown by Artur.
And the bizarre thing you could see there in the replay, the referee, Johnson Fu, was gesturing for the advantage. And none materialized, but he gave the goal kick.
Yeah. And just to go back to the point that I was making,
did a little quickly for Osimhen's liking.
He's been terrific in this game.
Got to keep in mind, he's only 20 years old. That's so much football ahead of him. Luis Campos has his sights set on you, then you've been doing something right.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable footballing director.
Switch by Artur. Dani Alves is caught offside. Luis Campos, for those not familiar, the sporting director at Lille, the man who built the team that won the Ligue 1 title with Monaco, although he was gone by the time that Leonardo Jardim led that team to the promised land. But he was the man buying the ingredients and now doing the same for Lille, and it's not a coincidence that he departs Monaco. Monaco stumble. He arrives at Lille, and Lille go from a relegation contender to a Champions League club.
And the man who replaced him at Monaco, Michael Emanalo, who was at Chelsea before that, already on his way out from the Principality because he hasn't been able to do the same as Luis Campos, which is unsurprising.
By the way, there's another Luis Campos gem on the bench for Brazil today. Fabinho. Spotted him at Rio Ave in Portugal before taking him to Real Madrid Castilla.
I was going to mention that before. Fabinho, one of his big signings.
Here's Everton. Renan Lodi. Coutinho finding a bit of space in the area, squared back. And Samu Chukwueze won't get there. Brazil will have a throw.
That was good movement from Coutinho, finding a little bit of space in the box, untracked. And good defensive cover at the end.
Firmino working against Ekong. Casemiro goes down by Moses Simon and a bit too aggressively.
And that's a silly foul from a player who's not used to defending too much. And this usually is range for Neymar. Coutinho will take responsibility for this one. But one thing about Nigeria defensively is that they're doing very well of communicating with each other, whom to pick up, what spaces to take up. It's been effective. We saw Ndidi motioning to his captain Ekong to pick up Bobby Firmino as he tried to move towards the wing to open up a little bit of space for runners to get in from behind him. Well organized, well regimented, this Nigerian national team so far in this game.
5 on the wall for Francis Usoho. Roughly a yard away, Everton and Casemiro. It is Coutinho who strikes it just wide of the target.
And from this angle, that did not miss by much. And he had Uzoa scrambling to reach it. Just looking for placement at that near post. That was inches away. Maybe Uzoa had it covered. In terms of the defensive positioning from Nigeria, the constant shifting, and Ndidi is the man just controlling everything, pointing everywhere, asking players to move into different positions. Very difficult for Brazil to break through that defensive wall.
Just 1 minute added on. We'll play to the end of this 46th. Osimhen turns away from traffic. Poked away by Thiago Silva. Maybe one last chance for Brazil to level before the break. Marquinhos. Headed forward by Dani Alves. Firmino knocks it down for Gabriel Jesus. There was contact, but no foul in the view of Johnson Fu.
That's Collins and Gabriel Jesus who knock into each other.
Probably should have been a foul given against Jamilu Collins.
I agree. He was late to get there.
Well, we don't know how much longer he'll be manager of Nigeria, but we know that he has them up a 0-0 at the break. Claims that 3 months, some $150,000 worth of salary are still owed to him, and Nigerian FA putting out a statement saying that the only money owed to him is from September and it is being processed. Meanwhile, the manager of the Nigerian women's team, Amis Denerby, has resigned over unpaid wages. The off-the-field stuff continues to haunt Nigeria. In a single year, both the youth side, the women's side, and the men's threatened the boy. Everton and Neymar, well, both players have since been subbed off. Second half underway with Nigeria leading a 0-0. No change for the team leading this. Joe Aribo's opener in the 35th minute, proving to he's being tracked very closely. There's Richarlison.
And like Gabriel Jesus, Richarlison playing on the wing. He's been reinvented in that position by Chichi.
Coutinho. Lazium seemed to push him off the ball. Here's Aribo. Aribo. Simon was the intended target. Moses Simon had a part to play in that goal as well. He was credited with the assist. Here's Gabriel Jesus sprinting past Collins into the area, looking for his options. Collins staying step for step.
That initial burst of speed from Gabriel Jesus is absolutely lethal. Collins is just fast and can catch up, but the way he gets past the defender so easily is so impressive, and that's why he is factored in this 11 on that right-hand side.
Coutinho. Alves. Flipped into the heart of the area. Strong header off the woodwork. Still loose. And Casemiro draws them level.
Well, that initial header from Marquinhos, I believe, smacks off the woodwork and bounces right into the feet of Casemiro. We said in the first half, he's a defensive midfielder, but no stranger to goals, especially during set-piece routines. And that's exactly what this was. A short corner to Dani Alves, who raffles it into the box. And it's Marquinhos who gets away from Ajay. Just carves out a little bit of space. Beautiful looping header. And then it's Richarlison and Casemiro battling out for the leftovers, with the Real Madrid man getting stuck in, putting a boot in, and tallying.
Well, Brazil back on level terms. Casemiro gets his third international goal now in his 45th appearance. And 2 of those 3 goals have come just over these last couple of games. He scored the opener against Colombia in that 2-2 draw. Back on the score sheet again tonight for just the 3rd time for country. Indeed, he commits the foul here, and more danger on the way from Brazil.
You asked me, Dre, what Brazil had to do differently, and I said they have to inject some explosiveness into the game. Gabriel Jesus with that opportunity one-on-one against Collins, turns on the afterburners, wins the corner, and lo and behold, we have a goal. And I think we'll see more of this from Brazil. Now let's see whether Nigeria can come out of this locker room with a little bit of intensity, the kind of intensity that saw them close out a very good first half.
Or will they be deflated by the equalizer? 4 on the wall for Uzo. It's in the books for Deportivo La Coruña in the Spanish Segunda, but on loan in Cyprus. Ball flung in, edge of the 6, looking for Thiago Silva.
So Waziem, who gets there first. He's been shows you how much of the ball Brazil have had, that you have a center back in Marquinhos attacking the half space unmarked to get that cross in.
By the way, Moses Simon, the man who made way for Dennis. And Brazil will make their 4th substitution. Here comes Fabinho off the bench. He'll take over from Artur.
And one of the players who did not make that Copa America squad, much to the stupefaction of a lot of Brazilian supporters.
Marquinhos knocks it down. Fabinho giving chase, won't get there. A chance to counter now for Samu Chukwueze on the near side, and Brazil stretched. Chukwueze gathered up by Anuachu. And it's Chukwueze. They were short on ideas on the counter, Nigeria. And it rolls away from a tired Samu Chukwueze.
It was a good diagonal run from Dennis, but Chukwueze's ball was behind him. Lands at the feet of Anuachu, who doesn't manage to get into 5th gear. I'm not sure he has 5th gear.
So 10 minutes left, 4 changes for Brazil. Coutinho in the first half, Richarlison, Gabriel, and Fabinho in the second, while the goalkeeper Okoye, the striker Anuachu, and Emmanuel Dennis coming off the bench for the Super Eagles. Coutinho, Casemiro, led away by Collins. Fabinho, one of the unsung heroes of that Monaco team that beat out Paris Saint-Germain for the Ligue 1 title in 2017. It's a counter-attacking team, and so much of the counter-attack went straight through him.
Yep. Right back turned center midfielder. And for Brazil, when he had his initial stints with the Canarinha, he was playing as a right back. Ole
goes through the legs of Ndidi, but the ball, not the player. Once again, it's Marquinhos. Gabriel Jesus, Dani Alves. Collins was on alert. This is Iwobi.
Collins is trying to play with the referee there.
Recovered by Casemiro now. Awazian, excellent first touch. And now releasing Samuel Chukwueze.
And Awazian, well, finally joining the play. Now Chukwueze doesn't have any options. They know he's going to cut in because he's got nobody overlapping.
Now Richarlison working here against Aribo.
His defensive prowess, as you saw there.
And watch with the switch of play. Tanks running low here for Samuel Chukwueze on his left. Skies his effort.
Well, he deserves that. Dennis was looking at him. He wanted the pass, but Chukwueze has been working so hard on both sides of the ball. The defensive phase, the attacking phase, up and down that right-hand side corridor.
This will be the fourth change now for Nigeria. Stepping in will be Ramon Aziz, the player who's really been a standout for Granada in their brilliant start in La Liga this season. He's going to replace Alex Iwobi. Granada back in the top flight this season, and we're top of the table just a couple of weeks back. Fresh legs now for those Nigerian counterattacks.
Alex Iwobi played as that number 10 in that pocket, a position that he's not very familiar with, and I'm not sure if that position is his to keep.
Ikong appeared to foul Gabriel Jesus, nothing given. Here's Aribo. And watch with his back to goal, allowed to turn. Thiago Silva able to poke it free. Coutinho. Let's step forward from Collins to win it back for Nigeria. No foul here against Fabinho.
Took a bit of a splash.
Gabriel Jesus hits the brakes. Casemiro. Here's Renan Lodi. And he'll leave it for Richarlison. Lodi. Casemiro. Put it into the area. Collins dispels it. Fabinho will leave it for Marquinhos. Is there a game winner in the card? Slid through nicely by Richarlison. This is Lodi. Back across the green. Coutinho just cleared by Ajayi.
And Johnny on the spot. Semi Ajayi. That was headed to the far corner. Lovely bit of play. Great ball from Richarlison. And then Coutinho is trying to place it. Going for the placement instead of power. Maybe he should have hit it harder. He actually had time to stop it and pick his spot. Easier from where we're sitting.
I think he knows it by the reaction. Aribo. Here's Ndidi.
They haven't really switched play at all, Nigeria. Once they get the ball on one wing, they drive down that side.
Aziz. Yeah, it's more downhill football from Nigeria. The switch is on for Samuel Chukwueze if they can spot him. Dennis to the byline. Crossed in toward the spot. Thiago Silva is there for Brazil. Aziz. Ndidi.
Took a little bit of a fortunate bounce for Emmanuel Dennis to get past Dani Alves. Wants another go.
Here's Dennis. As well to find Samuel Chukwueze in more central position now. Awazian. Lighted in back post on Nuachu, rising to meet it. It's loose on the doorstep. Chukwueze denied by Ederson.
Well, two things happened there. One, we saw that Awazian can deliver a very good cross from the right-hand side, and that Chukwueze is very uncomfortable on his right foot. The ball is at an awkward height, but just the way he approaches this ball shows a player not really happy to be using it.
Indeed, he picks up a yellow here. And it's the only yellow card we've seen so far. It comes in the 88th minute. Loose and across the 6-yard box. Wasn't the most deliberate of touches from Mekong.
Who's been pretty solid in this game. Trustekong, who switched allegiances, played for the youth ranks of the Netherlands.
As far as the under 20s, made appearances for the under 19s and under 20s. Once again, loose in the 18. Jai clears it. Substitution for Brazil is the Milan man Lucas Paquetá checks in. 22-year-old playmaker. It's just a handful of minutes here on the final stretch.
One of those Milan players who's probably quite happy to see Giampaolo, the former Sampdoria coach, get fired.
Meanwhile, hitting his first call-up and now his first appearance for Nigeria's Peter Olayinka checks in. The Slavia Prague man who's done well for the Czech club in the Champions League this season. Rewarded now with the first cap for his national team.
Scored against Inter at the Giuseppe Meazza, if I'm not mistaken. A goal that had Slavia Prague ahead.
He replaces Chamo Chukwueze. They look a little tired down the stretch, Chukwueze. Maybe had something to do with that final shot there saved by Ederson. No less than 90 seconds remain of the 90 minutes, and it remains Brazil 1, Nigeria 1. The Brazilians looking to change that. It's taken away from Coutinho.
And Charlison had wound up for that shot. And Gabigol deflected it away from the Everton man.
Coutinho lights it in. The debutant Okoye out to collect. So 2 Nigeria debuts today, Okoye and Olayinka. Well, Emmanuel Dennis making only his second appearance, and so too is Joe Aribo, who scored in both of his caps for Nigeria. Future is bright for the Super Eagles. Fabinho takes it away.
Trying to rebuild this team and get something somewhat close to the golden era of Nigerian football in the 90s.
Gabriel Barbosa. Strong from the Flamengo striker. 5 minutes added on. Will play until at least the end of the 95th. Plenty of time for a winner. Coutinho. Big feet from Philippe Coutinho.
All about the hips on that movement. Twisting one way, going the other.
Jinga. Renan Lodi.
Shakira says that her hips don't lie. Coutinho's are filled with mendacity.
And Charlison lays it off.
And going back to the Super Eagles and the future looking bright. That team that they managed to put together for the '94 World Cup that just lost in the round of 16 to a Roberto Baggio inspired Italy was filled with stars, and that's where they want to get once again.
Brazil in search of a winner, delivered near post, so Ajayi was there.
And I'm just waiting for somebody to replicate the eclectic look of Taribo West in the center of defense. Re-enter man.
Delivered, slapped away, tipped away by the goalkeeper, Okoye.
That looked a little bit tentative from the Dusseldorf man.
Alves, another cross in. Once again, dealt with by the aerial defense of Nigeria. Fabinho. Casemiro delivers back post, and this time Okoye hangs on. 3-year process to trim 10 teams down to 4.5. And still arguably the most difficult qualifying process on the planet. Casemiro with Richarlison left it behind Gabriel. Back the other way comes Aribo. Forward from Aziz. Here's Aribo. Oh, nearly gets past Thiago Silva. It will be brought back for a Nigeria free kick.
And this should be a yellow card for Thiago Silva, although I'm not sure Thiago Silva can even get out of the way of Joe Aribo. Quick-footed player gets past the veteran who's apologetic. He's some player, Joe Aribo, 23 years old, former Charlton Athletic man.
Well, he's made some start to his international career as well. Thiago Silva will pick up the yellow.
Adding insult to injury.
Well, if he doesn't commit that foul, Joe Aribo is looking at his 3rd goal in 2 games, potentially.
I think this is half tackle, half block.
The veteran move from the PSG center back. Well, Nigeria will make another change, and it's along the back line this time is Abdullahi Shehu will check in. And in fact, that'll be the end of Aribo's outing.
And Shehu can also play in the center of the park, usually a center back, but Mr. Versatility for the Nigerian national team.
Only 1 minute remains of the 5 added on. Nigeria broke the ice back in the 35th minute. Joe Aribo scoring his 2nd international goal in 2 appearances before Casemiro found his 3rd international goal early in the 2nd half to level it. And of course, we've got Argentina against Ecuador coming up next, so stay with us. How can Nigeria find the winner here?
Well, they were against the ropes for most of this game, but getting a draw against the all-powerful Brazil, Copa America champions, is going to do a lot of good for the confidence of these Super Eagles.
Meanwhile, not much has changed for Gigi. He came in with some concerns and, in his own words, said Brazil had to play better. I think he'll come away from this match saying much the same. That's from a long way out, hoping to catch Ederson off his line. Oh no,